Just a few quick items before Peter comes up to give a presentation and an update on the utility billing and Infor activities. The first of those being our community cleanup events. We've had a couple of events in the recent past that's worth note, 3 actually. 17 tons of trash was picked up on Padre Island by volunteers during a cleanup effort out on the island. And also many of you attended the New Edition Town Hall meeting and Ms. Violet's presentation there. There were 18 tons of trash picked up in the Elgin, Mohawk, Dunbar area. So congratulations to those communities that came together and worked real hard to get their communities and their neighborhoods cleaned up. Also, our stormwater employees, every month they do something. They volunteer for work. They volunteered over on Ropes Park and picked up 260 pounds of litter over at that location. So real important to note that. Also, any community group that wants to have a cleanup in their neighborhood can do so by contacting the city at 361-826-1655. That's 826-1655, and it is free of charge. An activity going on that will be happening December 6th through January 26th is at the La Retama Central Library is an art exhibit showcasing the diversity of Latin cultures. This will be entitled Latinos Unidos, and it's free, and it will feature works of Latinx artists from the Coastal Bend and around the country. There will be a Meet the Artist time period on December 8th from 6:30 to 8:30 in the evening. And then finally, I want to take a moment to recognize our employee of the fourth quarter. That is Jen Bohannon. And this is a picture of she and Mark during the presentation of her quarterly receiving the award as the employee of the quarter. She works on the SCADA program. A lot of people don't know what the SCADA program is, but it's a heads-up system whereby we monitor the water in our system, our water system. And people don't realize it, but we're moving water around in that system all the time to maintain pressures from one tank to the other and so forth, so from the plant and on out through distribution. And it's the SCADA system that allows that to occur, and she oversees that activity. And with that, I'd like to introduce or allow for Peter to come up and give a brief presentation.
Good morning, Mayor, Council, Peter Collins. I'm back to give my update of the progress on billing/the Infor system. As you know, we talked about the general ledger the last time, and that we need to be able to do our year-end close, but we're having issues with the interface between the billing system and the general ledger itself. And I discussed in that we have to do what's called rejournal all the way from December to date, and then we have to do our cash reconciliation. With the strong dedication of staff who really rolled up their sleeves here, the chief accountant Martha Messer, Adrian Ferraro, and J.C. Reeves. Along working with Infor, I'm here to say that we were able to accomplish rejournaling. So we rejournal all the way from December 2017 to date. So what does that actually mean to us? What it means is that we got over one of the major hurdles, and now we're on to the second one, which is a lot bigger than the first one, is actually doing the cash reconciliation. So we continue to look at, as far as we rejournal, we're doing a review just to double, triple check, but also started the reconciling cash, which the initial timeline, I'm still going to say I'm cautiously optimistic until I start seeing more of the results from the cash reconciliation. That could be very labor intensive. You can't do it through automation like the rejournaling. It's going to take somebody looking and seeing discrepancies and seeing how they need to be corrected or what was the actual cost to it. So I'd say we move in a very positive direction. We accomplished a lot in less than probably 2 weeks. And I just want to say we're going to keep moving forward in that direction. As far as the no bills, the first report of the 500,000 bills that people that never received the bill, we're over 3/4 of the way completed with that. So we're looking forward to have closure to that pretty soon. So that's good for us. As far as the MTU replacement, we're about even now. We're gaining on failure rate versus installation rate. There is an expectation in a system this large, there's about 150,000 MTUs, that you always will have an ongoing maintenance schedule and replacing MTUs. Some of the MTUs are, in meters that are submerged in water. When it rains, there's a lot of environmental issues, but I feel confident that we can continue to move forward with this and keep this system reliable and get to a point where we have the MTUs replaced and then maintain it properly. Because if you look at the statistics behind the system, we're about 90% reporting through MTUs. Where you really want to be, the best practices is about 95%. So we got to get back to that 95%, and then it's manageable. And that's all I have for this week. I obviously continue work with the assessment of N4, the data portals, the mobile application for the inspectors. So all that work is going on behind the scenes, but I felt these are the most highlighted items that you would like to hear about today.
We appreciate it. It's a good report. I think obviously we're making progress because the number of calls that I think each of us are getting have disappeared substantially or been reduced substantially. So that's good. And we're making progress on the folks that had questions, getting them reconciled and made whole and making all those adjustments as quickly as we can, or have we completed that process?
Well, what we've done on the first, the no bills, all the people that had, customers that had actually affected, they were all called personally. And people that requested payment plans have been placed on payment plans, others paid it in full. It's just, each one was just unique, but we wanted to make that outreach and communicate what was happening so it wasn't going to be a big shock to everybody.
Good. Well, thank you. Communication's key, so we appreciate that. Don't see any lights on now, so we appreciate it. Keep working, and we got a couple more meetings for the Christmas holidays, so
We'll keep going.
keep going.
Thank
That's
you.
right. Merry Christmas to you. All right. Let's see, strategic future issues that have anything there that you need to speak to?
No, sir.
All right, city performance report. Chief. The head of the scooter squad.
You'll be seeing us zipping all around downtown. Morning, Mayor and Council. Mike Markle, Police Department. This morning I'm going to present the CPR. I think it should be loaded up here. For the Police Department, the City Performance Review. There we go. As you know, our operational profile with our mission statement is to reduce crime, the fear of crime, and to enhance public safety. We do that in a myriad of ways. Most importantly, we do it through community outreach and understanding what's important to our community. I know many of you have been part of that. Our operational profile includes oversight of patrol and traffic, narcotics, CID, code enforcement, of course. It's MetroCom. There's many, many units that fall within the police department, forensics, and we're a complex, a lot of moving parts organization. Our city is broken up into 4 quadrants, 4 districts, each run by a captain. We've done a lot this last 2 or 3 years to try to make sure our neighborhoods know who their captains are, who they can reach out to. We give out cards, we have community meetings, it's part of our big picture plan. We want community members to know who to call to get something done quickly about issues. And I know they go through you routinely, but when they do that, we also make sure that the captain is out there trying to introduce themselves and making sure they're known to the community so that they can solve problems. I think we've done a very good job at that, and we're going to continue on with that. Down here, some of our baseline information See, the number of sworn officers is currently 446. This includes the 8 officers that you approved in the last budget. And they are in the academy now. They'll come out into the field in February and start their field training program, which lasts another 6 months. At that time, they'll spill out to be operational officers on a solo basis. That's a big boost, and I appreciate that from all of you. Our number of non-sworn personnel, if you look between 15, 16 into the 17 budget, we reduced, as did many departments in this city, as we all tightened our belts. You see our Part 1 crimes. I did want to take a moment to make sure you understand uniform crime reporting now. It's not numbers for number reporting. It's voluntary from cities. You'll see some cities, they report very little crime because they don't have to report crime if they don't want to. Also, if you have a succession of crimes in one event, it's only the highest crime within those events that are reported. So it's not a number for number when you look at crimes. And I say this because we are currently transitioning into what's called NIBRS, National Incident Based Reporting. So because of that, what you'll see on the internet in the future for cities, when you look up crime rates, you're going to see numbers jump up because it will be number for number. Those hidden numbers that are behind the highest offense will no longer be hidden. Now that's a true evaluation of crime in cities, and I want everybody to be prepared for that. And we'll do some messaging. We'll make sure that we're talking to the community and letting them know that nothing's different. It's just the reporting methodology has changed. Now, you see our Part 1 property crimes. If you look, you'll see the first 2 numbers, 12,045. That's not a typo. That's just happened to be how it was reported that year. They turned out to be the same. Our violent crimes have remained relatively consistent. Number of 911 received calls in Metrocom. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later in our performance indicators when I can open up a graph. But the 344,000 into 14-15 is an anomaly. It's a shared anomaly. Is in 2006 that happened. But we average about 25 to 30,000 911 calls a month that come into Metrocom. The percent of emergency calls, just to give you another example, that we respond to in 8 minutes and 22 seconds. That baseline number was acquired about 10 or 15 years ago, maybe a little longer. Some chiefs around the city, major cities, they compared numbers and the response time from calls for priority 0 and 1s, which are your most important calls. So they wanted to know the baseline time from the call to get there and what we should be striving for. Now, we average about 7 minutes, so we're below the industry standard. We're doing pretty well in 0 and 1 priorities. Now, the crimes are prioritized into 9 groups. As you spread out to the 9, you'll see that we extend out, sometimes doubling, tripling our response times for non-priority calls. But we've held our own for our emergencies. And you excuse me, I'm taking some cold medicine, so I'm a little cotton mouth today. Moving down to the performance indicators. DWI arrests. This is a great thing to talk about. We work hard on our DWI arrests, have stayed relatively constant through the years, have increased a little. But this is a good thing to talk about because Officer of the Year this year was Samantha Baldwin, who won Officer of the Year because she's had so many DWIs, hundreds of them, literally herself. So, what's that? She's caught that many. Yeah. Let me clarify that. She's an incredible employee. She does an outstanding job for us, and I'm proud to have her on this police department. Citations issues. I'm going to go back here. If you look at number of citations issued, you see that we have done a great job. It's been one of my goals is to increase the number of traffic stops and citations. And we've done so. We've gone up about 11,000 traffic stops and about 9,000 citations this last year. I don't want to touch on that, and I didn't. So our come down here to response times for responding to 911 calls. We averaged about 4.5 minutes for time of dispatch to arrival, and as I said, about 7 minutes from time of call to time of arrival. I think I'm going to leave it there for any more questions, since our performance indicators are pretty much redundant of our operational profile, our baseline information. I stand by for any questions.
Traffic deaths is a decline from 34 to 24, so that's great.
That was the goal. If you remember, calendar year, we had 40 traffic deaths. This is fiscal year 34. It's just too many for our city. Now, you approved nondescript cars. They wrote about 8,000 tickets, just those 2 cars. And our goal was to reduce traffic. I know it's a nebulous association. I hate to take credit. You never know what you prevent. It's hard to measure. But the numbers did come down.
Well, I think everybody's appreciative of the work that you're doing and the whole department. So
I appreciate that.
we appreciate it, and one of these days I hope you work yourself out of a job. But
That's the goal.
but until that day, keep doing a great job that you're doing. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Ms. Opal?
You know, Mayor, one of the things that I want to reinforce is the many outstanding people that we have who work for Corpus Christi. And I think you need not look any further than our own Corpus Christi Police Department and the team that's been assembled to help manage and keep us safe. And every time we have the chief or one of the officers come in front of us, it's always with professionalism. It's always with the utmost commitment to keeping our community safe and a great place to live. And so I just don't want to pass that up without sharing a little loving on the team that makes that happen. So we really appreciate all that you do, and thank you for continuing the great leadership that we have here in the community.
I appreciate that.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. And you know what? I should take 1 second to respond to that, because there's a lot of talk about not having support in this council, Mayor. You've all supported us greatly, and I need to say that out loud, and the city. So we move forward as a team, and I know we're going to continue to do so. So thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Okay, that completes everything you had, Mr. Manager?
Yes, sir, Mayor.
All right, item G.